Okay, it is now 2:41 to be exact. Um, and that's been, almost 2 hours longer than my 5 hours because I was doing some other things and just didn't have time to fool with this. So here's my dough. It has doubled in size. It's pretty heavy and airy. Um, I've washed my hands. I'm going to move this black thing because I was using it to hide the glare from the lights above me. But we're just going to have to do it that way and see how it works out. Oh, look, my cutting board might help. Okay, so I use a wooden cutting board, uh, just because I find it easier to clean than putting um, the flour on my counter, because you do have to flour your surface. So our dough is ready to do the next step 2 on that recipe from Cultured Food Life of the sandwich loaf bread. So I just like to get a pinch bowl and put some flour in it, um, so that in case I need to do extra. And I have a scraper. You could probably use a spatula if you need it to. I just have this little scraper. And most of the time, let's see if I even have to use it. Gotta take my glasses off. Okay. Most of the time it pulls away from the bowl, so you really don't even have to scrape it. But I did have a part that's stuck. So if you see right there, there's one little part that didn't pull away from the bowl. But the cool thing about the sourdough is that when it's at that level, it really just all pulls away and doesn't really stick. Okay, so let me set this over here. Okay, out of the way. And then sometimes I have to still use this scraper. All right, so the goal is to get it in this pan and shape it like a loaf. And one of the easiest ways to do that, a lot of times you can also flour your hands. You can either wet your hands or flour your hands, both work, is to do this number. Is the easiest way to do that. I didn't finish my sentence. And say I'm doing more flour just so I can kind of drag it. And I did cheat a little bit. I did a couple stretch and folds just because this dough, I've done this particular recipe twice before this one, but I used my dough hook and my stand mixer. Now this one is turning out more like my original bread recipe that I've been doing for years, that I do stretch and folds with. So I guess I should have videoed the stretch and folds for you, but I didn't, so shame on me. But anyway, you probably don't need the stretch and folds, but you can see, like, there's bubbles in here. That's the fermentation, and that's what's going to make those holes in your bread. Now, the sourdough that I made last time, this is a slice left from it. It didn't really have the holes are very tiny. You see that? So that's the one that I did using the stand mixer, and that's how it turned out. So we'll see. This is kind of an experiment for me because I did do one stretch and fold probably about 1:30 when I checked on it, and I was like, I just don't have time to bake right now, or to fool with it right now. Really to video. If you want to be truthful, I probably could have done it if I didn't have to set up everything for a video, if I was just doing the bread. Okay, so this is about that size. So I'm just going to plop it right in there, and I like to do it this way because I like the way it looks on top, or looked on top. Gosh, we might not have to do much more fermentation. Usually whenever I put it in here, when I did the other two breads, it was kind of like there, and it rose to here. So I'm still going to let it sit for a little bit and just let it rise a little bit more to where it's a little bit almost even with the pan. So I'll check back in maybe an hour, 2 hours and see. But this is it. This is the second part, okay? Very easy. So we just cover it back up. You can either use your towel. And also forgot to mention, a lot of times I would use a wet towel. But it probably doesn't matter in this instance unless you're putting it in the fridge like overnight. Because sometimes if you don't use plastic wrap or a wet towel, it will, when you do an overnight fermentation, it will form kind of like a crusty layer on top. But once you, like in the past of the bread that I was doing that had the stretch and folds, when I would do the stretch and folds or when I would roll it up like I just did, it was fine. So, anyway, hopefully that was helpful, and we'll do another video when it's time to check it.